Lisa Grant stared at her screen and blinked twice. The numbers didn't make sense. She was working the night shift at Sentinel-9, an orbital defense station at the edge of human space. Most nights were quiet. Most nights nothing happened at all. But tonight was different. Her computer showed a distress signal coming from deep space. That wasn't unusual. Ships broke down. People needed help. But this signal was using old encryption codes. Really old codes. The kind that hadn't been used in over 40 years. Lisa ran the check again. Same result. She felt her heart beat faster. "Computer, identify the signal source," she said. The computer took a moment. Then text appeared on her screen. "Signal identified. ECS Horizon. Registration number H214407. Status: lost with all hands. Date of loss: June 15, 2144. Lisa's hands went cold. The Horizon had vanished 43 years ago. She remembered learning about it in school. The ship had been part of something called the Far Reach program. Earth had sent dozens of ships out to explore deep space. Most came back. Some didn't. The Horizon was one that didn't. 147 people had died when it disappeared. That's what everyone thought. Lisa grabbed her communicator. "This is Grant at Sentinel-9. I need to speak with Admiral Hayes right now. Emergency priority." The response came back quickly. "Stand by." 2 minutes later, Admiral William Hayes appeared on her screen. He looked tired. It was 3 a.m. Earth time. "This better be important, Grant," he said. "Sir, I'm picking up a distress signal from the ECS Horizon." Hayes sat up straight. "That's impossible. The Horizon was lost in 2144. "I know, sir. But the signal is real. I've verified it 3 times. The encryption matches perfectly. And sir, there's more. The signal is strong. Really strong. Whatever is sending it has a lot of power." Hayes rubbed his face. "Send me everything you have. I'm authorizing an immediate intercept mission." Within an hour, Commander Jacob Stone received his orders. He was the captain of the ECS Vigilant, a fast military ship designed for quick response missions. Stone was 42 years old and had spent 20 years in the Earth colonial fleet. He'd seen strange things in space, but nothing like this. "All hands prepare for emergency departure," Stone announced over the ship's intercom. "We launch in 30 minutes. His crew moved quickly. They were good at their jobs. That's why Stone trusted them. Martin Cole, the chief science officer, met Stone on the bridge. Cole was young, only 30, but brilliant. He had 3 advanced degrees and could solve problems that made other scientists give up. "What do you think we're going to find out there?" Cole asked. Stone shook his head. "I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe the signal is automated. Maybe it's been broadcasting for 40 years and we're only just picking it up now. And if it's not automated, then we're about to meet some very lucky people who survived 4 decades in deep space." The Vigilant moved fast. It took them 6 hours to reach the coordinates where the signal originated. As they got closer, their sensors started picking up more details. "I'm reading a ship," said Kelly Brooks, the navigation officer. "It's definitely the Horizon. Size and shape match the records perfectly." Stone leaned forward in his chair. "Put it on screen." The main display showed a ship floating in the darkness of space. It looked brand new. The hull was clean and shiny. There was no damage, no signs of wear, nothing that suggested the ship had been lost for 43 years. "That doesn't look right," Stone said quietly. Cole was already running scans. "Commander, you need to see this. The ship's power signature is reading at 340% of original specifications." "That's impossible." "I know, but that's what the sensors say. The reactor design matches our records. It's the same reactor the Horizon left Earth with, but somehow it's producing more than 3 times the power it should." Stone felt a chill run down his spine. "Life signs?" Cole checked his instruments. "None. The ship appears to be empty." "But life support is active?" "Yes, sir. Atmosphere is normal. Temperature is comfortable. Gravity generators are working. Everything is functioning perfectly." Stone made his decision. "Prepare a boarding team. Brooks, Cole, you're with me. Security Chief Rivers, bring 10 officers. Full combat gear." Paul Rivers nodded. He was a big man with a calm face. Nothing seemed to shake him. "Yes, sir." They suited up and moved to the airlock. The Vigilant moved closer to the Horizon until the 2 ships were almost touching. Stone watched through the window as the docking clamps engaged. "Seal is secure," Brooks reported. "The Horizon's airlock is responding to our commands." "Open it." Stone ordered. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Beyond it was another door, the entrance to the horizon itself. Stone stepped forward and pressed the control panel. The inner door opened. Lights flickered on automatically. Stone stepped inside the horizon and looked around. The corridor was clean. The walls were white and smooth. Everything looked new. "This is wrong," Rivers said quietly. "Ships don't look like this after 40 years in space." The team moved deeper into the ship. They checked the crew quarters first. The beds were made. Personal items were arranged neatly on shelves. But there were no people. Brooks found something in the navigation room. "Commander, you need to see this." Stone joined her. She was looking at a computer terminal. The screen showed the ship's log. "These logs have been maintained," Brooks said, "right up until 3 days ago. Look at the last entry." Stone read the words on the screen. "Returning home. Humanity needs what we found." 3 days ago, Stone repeated. "Someone was alive on this ship 3 days ago," Cole called out from down the hall. "Commander, I found something in the cargo bay." They hurried to join him. The cargo bay was huge, taking up most of the ship's lower level, but it didn't look like any cargo bay Stone had ever seen. Strange crystalline structures grew from the floor and walls. They glowed with a soft blue light. Human computer systems had been integrated into the alien structures. Screens displayed equations and diagrams that Stone couldn't understand. "What is this?" Rivers asked. Cole was already studying the nearest screen. "These are physics equations. But they're advanced. Really advanced. According to current human understanding, we won't develop this kind of mathematics for another 50 years at least." Stone felt his world tilting. "Where did it come from?" "I don't know. But Commander, this technology isn't human. Someone else built this. And somehow the Horizon's crew integrated it into their ship." Brooks called out again. "Sir, I found the crew. They found her in the medical bay." The room was filled with stasis pods, row after row of them. Stone counted quickly. 147 pods, one for each member of the original crew. "They're alive," Brooks said, checking the readouts. "All of them. But look at this." She pointed to a monitor showing brain activity. The patterns were strange. They didn't look like normal human brain patterns. There were too many connections, too much activity in areas that should be quiet. "Their brains have been changed," Cole said quietly. "Something altered their neural structure." Stone moved to the nearest pod. Inside, he could see a woman's face. She looked peaceful, like she was sleeping. According to the name tag on the pod, she was Dr. Helen Carter, the Horizon's chief medical officer. "Can we wake them?" Stone asked. "I think so," Cole said. "But I don't know if we should. Not until we understand what happened to them." A sound made them all turn. A soft hum filled the room. Above the central console, light gathered and formed into the shape of a man. It was a hologram. Stone recognized the face from the records. Captain Richard Hunt, commander of the Horizon. The hologram spoke. Its voice was calm and clear. "If you're seeing this, then we made it home. My crew and I found something out there. Something wonderful and terrible. We brought back technology that can save humanity. But you need to understand it quickly, because the same ones who found us first are coming for you now." The hologram flickered and disappeared. Alarms started blaring on both ships. Stone grabbed his communicator. "Vigilant report." The response came from his ship. "Sir, long-range sensors are picking up multiple contacts entering human space. Origin point matches the Kepler expanse. They're moving fast and their heading leads directly to Earth." Stone looked at the stasis pods, at the strange alien technology, at the empty ship that somehow wasn't empty at all. "How many contacts?" he asked. 12, sir. "And they're big." Really big. Stone knew that everything had just changed. The Horizon had returned with answers, but it had also brought questions. And now something was coming. Something that scared the Horizon's crew enough that they'd change themselves to fight it. "Wake Admiral Hayes," Stone said. "Tell him we have a situation." Admiral Hayes stood in the emergency council room on Earth. Around the table sat military leaders and government officials. Everyone looked worried. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," said Senator Gary Mitchell. "The Horizon returned after 43 years. The crew is alive but changed. There's alien technology on board that we don't understand. And now 12 unknown ships are heading toward Earth." "That's correct," Hayes said. "And you want to wake up the Horizon's crew? We need answers." "They're the only ones who know what's happening." Mitchell shook his head. "They're not human anymore. You said their brains have been altered. How do we know we can trust them? Because they came back, Hayes said firmly. They could have stayed wherever they were. Instead, they returned to warn us. The council argued for another hour. Finally, they gave Hayes permission to wake one crew member, just one, to test if it was safe. Commander Stone watched as Martin Cole prepared the medical bay. They'd chosen Dr. Helen Carter because she was the Horizon's chief medical officer. If anyone could explain what happened, it would be her. Starting the wake-up sequence now, Cole said. The process took 6 hours. Slowly, the readings on the monitors began to change. Helen's brain patterns shifted. They didn't become normal exactly, but they became less strange, more like something a human could understand. Her eyes opened. Stone stepped forward. Dr. Carter? Can you hear me? Helen's eyes moved slowly, focusing on his face. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. Her throat was dry after years in stasis. Kelly Brooks brought water. Helen drank carefully, then tried again. Where are we? She asked. Her voice was rough but clear. You're back in human space, Stone said. The Horizon returned 3 days ago. We found you and your crew in stasis. Can you tell us what happened? Helen closed her eyes. When she opened them again, tears were running down her face. We found them, she said. The architects, or what they left behind. Over the next hour, Helen told her story. Stone, Cole, Brooks, and Paul Rivers listened without interrupting. The Horizon had been exploring the Kepler expanse, a region of space filled with dark matter and strange energy readings. Most ships avoided it, but the Far Reach program wanted to know what was out there. They found something, a structure floating in empty space. It was huge, bigger than any ship humanity had ever built. And it was old. Incredibly old. We called it a way station, Helen explained. The architects built it millions of years ago. They left it there along with dozens of others scattered across the galaxy. Who were the architects? Cole asked. We don't know. They were gone long before humanity existed. But they left behind their knowledge. Everything they learned. Everything they built. They stored it in the way stations. Why? Stone asked. Helen's face grew dark. Because they knew what was coming. The Devourers. She explained that the Devourers were a species that consumed other civilizations. They traveled from star to star, finding intelligent life and destroying it. They took everything. Technology, resources, even biological matter. They left nothing behind but dead rocks. The architects fought them, Helen said. For thousands of years they fought. They won battles but lost the war. In the end, the architects knew they would die. So they created the way stations. They left their knowledge behind, hoping that someday someone would find it and use it to stop the Devourers. And you found one of these way stations, Stone said. Yes. But there was a problem. The knowledge was too complex. Human brains couldn't process it. We tried for months to understand even the basic concepts, but we failed. The architect's technology was too advanced. So you changed yourselves, Cole said quietly. Helen nodded. Captain Hunt made the decision. The way station had medical technology that could alter our neural structure. It would let us understand the architect's knowledge. But the process was permanent. Once we changed, we could never go back. All of you agreed to this? Rivers asked. Every single person on the ship. We knew what it meant. We knew we would become something different. But we also knew that humanity needed what we found. The architects left warnings in the way station. The Devourers were still out there, still hunting, and they would find Earth eventually. Helen explained that the process took 2 years. One by one, each crew member underwent the neural enhancement. Their brains were rewired, given new connections and capabilities. It was painful, but it worked. They began to understand the architect's technology. We spent 20 years at the way station, Helen said, learning, building. We took architect technology and integrated it into the Horizon. We made the ship faster, stronger, more efficient. We learned how to build weapons and shields that could fight the Devourers. Why did it take so long to come back? Brooks asked. Because we discovered something terrible. The way station sensors showed Devourer activity in this region of space. They were getting closer to Earth. We needed more time to learn enough to help. But 3 months ago, the sensors showed the Devourers changing course. They were heading directly for human space. We knew we had to return immediately, even if we didn't have all the answers. Stone leaned forward. Dr. Carter, what are we facing? Helen met his eyes. The 12 ships heading toward Earth are scouts. They're huge, each one the size of a small moon, but they're just the beginning. Behind them is the main fleet. Hundreds of ships, maybe thousands. If they reach Earth, humanity will die. The room was silent. Can we fight them? Stone asked. Yes, but not with the weapons you have now. You need architect technology, and you need more of my crew. Each of us learned different things at the way station. Captain Hunt focused on weapons systems. Our chief engineer learned manufacturing techniques. I studied biology and medicine. Together we have the knowledge to build a defense. How long do we have? Hayes asked through the communicator. Helen calculated in her head. The scout ships will reach Earth in 6 months. The main fleet will arrive 3 months after that. 9 months total. Can we build defenses in 9 months? If you wake my entire crew, yes. But there's another problem. The Horizon isn't the only ship that found a way station. Everyone stared at her. Helen continued. The architects built their way stations all across the galaxy. They knew that one way station might not be found or might be destroyed, so they created redundancy. Different way stations held different knowledge. Over the past century, 12 other human ships have gone missing in deep space. According to the architects' records, some of those ships found other way stations. You think those crews are still alive? Cole asked. I know they are. The architects' technology keeps the way stations operational for millions of years. If those ships found way stations like we did, their crews would have undergone the same process. They're out there somewhere, enhanced like us, carrying knowledge that humanity needs. Stone understood immediately. We need to find them. All of them, Helen agreed. Each way station held different pieces of the puzzle. The Horizon has some answers, but not all of them. To build a complete defense against the Devourers, we need the knowledge from all 12 ships. Hayes spoke through the communicator. I'm authorizing a full search and recovery operation. Stone, you'll lead it. Dr. Carter, I'm ordering the immediate revival of your entire crew. We need every advantage we can get. Mitchell's voice came through the speaker. Admiral, I must object. We're talking about waking up 147 people who have been fundamentally altered. We don't know if they're still loyal to humanity. Helen's eyes flashed with anger. Senator, my crew gave up their humanity to save yours. We spent 20 years learning how to fight an enemy you don't even understand yet. We came back when we could have stayed safe at the way station. We're here because we're still human where it matters. In our hearts. In our choices. Don't question our loyalty. Mitchell was quiet. Hayes made the final decision. Wake the crew. Find the other ships. We have 9 months to prepare for a war we can't afford to lose. Let's get to work. Over the next week, all 147 members of the Horizon's crew were revived. Each one underwent the same careful process. Each one woke up to a world that had moved on without them for 43 years. Captain Richard Hunt was the last to wake. He was 51 years old when the Horizon left Earth. Technically, he was 94 now, though the stasis had kept him physically the same. Stone met with Hunt in the captain's quarters. The older man stood at the window looking at Earth in the distance. It's beautiful, Hunt said quietly. I wasn't sure I'd ever see it again. Captain, we need your help. Hunt turned. His eyes had that strange clarity that all the enhanced crew members shared, like they were seeing more than normal humans could. I know, Hunt said. Helen told me about the situation. The Devourers are coming. We need to find the other ships. We need to build defenses. He smiled sadly. I spent 20 years preparing for this moment, Commander. I knew it would come. I just hoped we'd have more time. Can we win? Hunt was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. The architects couldn't win and they were far more advanced than we are. But they didn't have what we have. What's that? Each other. The architects fought alone, each civilization facing the Devourers by themselves. But humanity has allies now, enhanced humans and baseline humans working togi. The search began immediately. Captain Stone commanded a task force of 6 fast ships. Each one carried enhanced crew members from the Horizon. They would help identify the other lost vessels and communicate with any enhanced crews they found. Captain Hunt stayed on Earth. He worked with Admiral Hayes and human engineers to begin construction of the first defensive systems. It was slow work. The enhanced humans understood the architect's technology, but explaining it to baseline humans was difficult. Think of it like trying to explain color to someone who was born blind. Helen Carter told a group of frustrated engineers. We can see the concepts clearly now. Our enhanced brains process the information naturally, but translating it into terms you can understand takes time. Lisa Grant became the chief communications coordinator for the entire project. She worked 18-hour days, managing the flow of information between enhanced and baseline humans. It was exhausting, but she never complained. The first recovered ship was the ECS Pathfinder. Stone's task force found it 3 weeks into the search, exactly where Captain Hunt's calculations said it would be. Like the Horizon, the Pathfinder was in perfect condition. Its crew of 93 people waited in stasis. Among them was Carl Bennett, an engineering genius. Before the Pathfinder left Earth, Carl had designed some of humanity's most advanced reactor systems. Now, with his enhanced mind, he understood manufacturing techniques that made human technology look like children's toys. "We can build factories in orbit," Carl explained to Admiral Hayes. "Factories that construct ships in days instead of months. The architect's manufacturing systems use molecular assembly. They build things atom by atom, perfectly efficient with no waste." "How long to build these factories?" Hayes asked. "With the knowledge I have, 6 weeks for the first one. Then each factory can build another factory. Exponential growth. In 3 months, we could have 50 factories. In 4 months, 200. Hayes shook his head in wonder. "Do it. Build as many as you can." The second ship was the ECS Explorer. Then came the Vanguard. Then the Pioneer. Each ship brought more enhanced humans with different knowledge. One crew specialized in energy shields. Another understood advanced propulsion. A third had learned how to build weapons that could disrupt matter at the quantum level. But as the weeks passed, tensions grew between enhanced and baseline humans. Some people feared the changed crew members. They whispered that the enhanced weren't really human anymore. Senator Mitchell led this group, giving speeches about the danger of losing humanity's soul. "They're not like us anymore," Mitchell said in one public address. "They think differently. They see the world differently. How can we trust them to make decisions for humanity when they're no longer truly human themselves?" The enhanced crew members heard these speeches. Most ignored them, focused on their work. But some felt hurt. They had sacrificed their original selves to save humanity, and now humanity questioned their motives. Peter Wright, an enhanced crew member from the Pathfinder, spoke at a public forum. "We're still human," he said. "We still love. We still fear. We still hope. Our brains work differently now, yes, but our hearts haven't changed. We came back because Earth is our home, because you're our family. Don't push us away because we're trying to save you." Despite the tensions, the work continued. The orbital factories Carl designed began production. The first new ships rolled out of construction. They were beautiful and deadly, built with architect principles but human design aesthetics. Martin Cole led the scientific research efforts. He studied the Devourers using data from the way stations. What he learned was terrifying. "They're not really a species," Cole explained to Captain Stone. "They're more like a collective. Individual Devourer units don't think for themselves. They're controlled by central intelligences called node ships. Kill the node ship, and all the units it controls become mindless." "How many units does one node ship control?" Stone asked. "Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. And the 12 scout ships heading for Earth? 10 of them are node ships." Stone felt cold. "We need to target those node ships first." "Agreed. But they'll be heavily defended. The Devourers aren't stupid. They protect their node ships with layers of smaller vessels." The 7th ship was the ECS Discovery. The 8th was the Magellan. The 9th was the Voyager, and the 10th was the Endeavour. With each recovery, humanity's knowledge grew. The defensive network began to take shape. But 4 ships remained missing. The enhanced crews grew worried. Captain Hunt explained why to Admiral Hayes. "The architects deliberately scattered their knowledge," Hunt said. "No single way station contained complete information. It was a safety measure. If the Devourers found one way station, they wouldn't get everything. But it means we need all 12 ships to build a complete defense. Without them, our defensive network will have gaps, vulnerabilities." "Where are the other 4 ships?" Hayes asked. Hunt's face was grim. "We don't know. They're not at their predicted locations. Either they never found way stations or something else happened to them." Kelly Brooks was working on this problem. She spent days analyzing the disappearance locations of all 12 ships. She cross-referenced them with Devourer movement patterns from the architect's historical data. Late one night, she found the answer. "Commander Stone," she called through the communicator. "I know where the missing ships are." Stone was in his quarters trying to sleep. He sat up immediately. "Report." The 4 missing ships weren't lost randomly. Look at this pattern. The ECS Columbia, the Liberty, the Constitution, and the Independence. They all disappeared in the same region of space over a period of 15 years. That region corresponds to a devourer hunting zone. Stone understood. The devourers captured them. Yes. Before the crews could return home, the devourers found them. According to the architect's data, the devourers study the species they encounter. They take samples, research them, try to understand their technology, so those crews might still be alive. Possibly. But Commander, if the devourers have been studying enhanced humans for years, they know about the neural enhancements. They know about the architect's technology. We've lost our element of surprise. Stone contacted Admiral Hayes immediately. Within hours, every military leader in human space knew the truth. The devourers had 4 ships with enhanced crews. They'd been studying human neural patterns, learning human weaknesses. Captain Hunt took the news hard. Those crews have been prisoners for decades, he said quietly. We have to get them back. That would mean going into devourer-controlled space, Hayes said. It's a suicide mission. Then I'll go. My crew will go. We're enhanced. We can think faster, react quicker than baseline humans. If anyone can survive a rescue mission, it's us. Hayes considered this. If we lose you, we lose everything you know. If we don't try, we abandon our people. That's not who we are, Admiral. Humans don't leave their own behind. Hayes made his decision. You have my authorization. But take support ships. The new ones built with architect technology. Give yourself every advantage. The rescue force assembled quickly. 3 ships, the Horizon, the Pathfinder, and a brand new vessel called the ECS Ascension. The Ascension was the first ship built entirely with architect technology. It was fast, powerful, and beautiful. But there was bad news. The Devourer scout ships had reached the outer colonies. 3 settlements went dark in a single week. Scout ships returned with video footage. The Devourers didn't just attack. They stripped entire planets. They took everything. Buildings, trees, water, even the air. They left behind dead airless rocks. Lisa Grant watched the footage and felt sick. This is what's coming for Earth, she whispered. Admiral Hayes addressed the entire human population. His speech was broadcast on every colony, every station, every ship. People of Earth and the colonies, he began. We face an enemy unlike anything humanity has encountered before. The Devourers have destroyed countless civilizations. They've killed trillions of beings across millions of years. They're coming for us now. But we're not defenseless. The crews of 12 lost ships sacrificed their humanity to bring us the tools we need to fight. They gave up who they were to save who we are. Now we must honor that sacrifice. We must stand together, enhanced and baseline humans working as one. We have 9 months until the main Devourer fleet arrives. 9 months to build our defenses. 9 months to become the species that finally stops these monsters. We will not run. We will not hide. We will fight. And we will win. The speech helped. Public opinion shifted. More people began supporting the enhanced crews. Even Senator Mitchell softened his stance, though he remained cautious. Captain Hunt prepared his strike force for the rescue mission. Before they left, Helen Carter pulled him aside. Richard, the odds aren't good. The Devourers have had years to fortify their position. You might not come back, Hunt smiled. I know. But those 4 crews have been prisoners for decades. They're still human, still our people. We have to try, then come back alive, all of you. That's the plan. The 3 ships departed 2 days later. They jumped into the dark space where the missing ships had disappeared. It would take them a week to reach the Devourer-controlled region. On Earth, construction continued at a frantic pace. The orbital factories worked day and night. New ships emerged every few hours. Defense. The Devourer harvesting station was massive. It looked like a metal city floating in space. Built from pieces of 1,000 different civilizations, Captain Hunt could see ships from species he didn't recognize. Buildings that served purposes he couldn't imagine. All of it stolen, all of it taken from dead worlds. I count 47 Devourer vessels defending the station, Paul Rivers reported. Mix of fighters and cruisers. And there, at the center, that's a node ship. The node ship was huge and ugly. It looked like someone had melted different ships together and let them cool into a twisted mass of metal and weapons. Organic-looking tubes connected different sections. Lights pulsed along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at. The 4 human ships are in the research section, Kelly Brooks said. Lower left quadrant. But Commander, I'm reading life signs. The crews are still alive. Hunt felt relief and anger at the same time. Relief that the crews survived. Anger at what they must have endured. How many devourers in the research section? He asked. 30. Maybe 40. They're not reading clearly on sensors. Carl Bennett spoke from the Pathfinder. Captain, I'm ready with the weapon systems. The Ascension's main gun should punch through their shields, but we'll only get one good shot before they respond. Hunt made his decision. Target the node ship. If we destroy it, the other vessels will become mindless. That gives us time to extract our people. Understood. Firing in 3, 2, 1. The Ascension's main weapon was built using architect technology. It didn't fire projectiles or energy beams. Instead, it created a localized disruption in space itself. Matter couldn't exist in the disruption. It simply ceased to be. The beam hit the node ship dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire center section of the node ship vanished. Just gone. The two halves of the ship drifted apart, explosions rippling along the wounds. Immediately, the other Devourer vessels stopped moving. They hung in space, still active but purposeless. Their controlling intelligence was dead. All ships move in, Hunt ordered. Get to those crews. The 3 human vessels raced toward the research section. As they got closer, Hunt could see the 4 captured ships. The ECS Columbia, the Liberty, the Constitution, and the Independence. They looked damaged but intact. The Devourers had kept them functional. The Horizon docked with the Columbia while the Pathfinder took the Liberty. The Ascension, being newer and faster, docked with both the Constitution and the Independence simultaneously. Hunt led the boarding team personally. They moved through empty corridors. The research section had no Devourers. The creatures had abandoned this area when the node ship died. They found the crew of the Columbia in a large laboratory, 98 people in stasis pods. But unlike the neat arrangements on the Horizon, these pods looked clinical, cold. There were wires and tubes connecting the pods to alien machines. They've been studying them, Helen Carter said. She'd insisted on joining the rescue mission, taking brain scans, neural samples. The Devourers have been trying to understand how the enhancements work. Can we move them? Hunt asked. Yes, but carefully. Some of these connections go directly into their brains. We need to disconnect them properly or we could cause damage. It took 3 hours to safely extract all 98 crew members from the Columbia. The other teams worked just as carefully with the Liberty, Constitution, and Independence. 412 people total. 412 enhanced humans who'd been prisoners for decades. But as they worked, the Devourer station began to change. New lights appeared. Sections that had been dark suddenly powered up. Captain, we have a problem, Brooks called from the Horizon. I'm reading a massive power buildup. The station has a secondary intelligence. Not as powerful as the node ship, but it's waking up. How long do we have? 15 minutes. Maybe 20. Hunt made the call. All teams, double time. Get those crews aboard now. Leave everything else, they barely made it. The last stasis pod was loaded onto the Independence with 3 minutes to spare. As the ships disengaged, the harvesting station came fully alive. Weapons tracked them. Fighters launched from hidden bays, full speed, Hunt ordered. Get us out of here. The Ascension led the way. Its advanced engines opened a jump corridor, a tunnel through space that let ships travel faster than light. The other 6 ships followed, racing through the corridor as Devourer weapons fired behind them. They made it. All 7 ships emerged in human space 30 hours later, battered but intact. Admiral Hayes met them at Sentinel-9. He looked older. The stress of the past weeks had aged him. Welcome back, Captain, Hayes said. I wasn't sure we'd see you again. Neither was I, Hunt admitted. But we couldn't leave them. The rescued crews were brought to the Horizon's medical bay. Slowly, carefully, they were awakened. Each one had to be told what happened. That they'd been prisoners. That decades had passed. That Earth was now fighting for survival. Captain Barbara Chen of the Columbia was the first to wake. She was 56 years old when her ship was captured. Now she was technically 91, though she looked the same as the day she'd entered stasis. How long? Was the first thing she asked. 35 years, Hunt told her gently. Barbara closed her eyes. Did we complete the mission? Did the knowledge we gathered reach Earth? Yes, because of you and the other crews, Earth has a chance. Then it was worth it. Over the next week, all 412 rescued crew members were revived. Each one brought unique knowledge from their respective way stations. And together, all 12 ships finally held the complete picture of the architect's defensive network. Carl Bennett worked with engineers from all 12 crews. They assembled the final designs for Earth's defense system. What emerged was breathtaking in its complexity and terrible in its purpose. It's called a quantum resonance field. Carl explained to Admiral Hayes. We distribute generators across the entire solar system. Each generator creates a small disruption in the fabric of space. Individually, they're harmless, but when activated together, they create a resonance wave that destabilizes exotic matter. In simple terms, Hayes asked, the Devourers use exotic matter for faster-than-light travel. The resonance field will trap their entire fleet in normal space. They won't be able to jump away or call for reinforcements. We can fight them with conventional weapons. What's the catch? Carl hesitated. The power requirements are enormous. We need a quantum-level energy source, and there's only one way to create that much power. Helen Carter continued the explanation. A human consciousness enhanced by architect neural technology generates quantum-level energy. It's a side effect of the enhancement process. Our brains don't just think faster. They exist partially in quantum space, Hayes began to understand. You're saying we need to sacrifice enhanced humans to power this field. Not just a few, Hunt said quietly. All 147 members of the Horizons crew. Our consciousness, all feeding into the field simultaneously. It will generate enough power to trap the Devourer fleet, and it will kill you. Yes. The room was silent. Hayes shook his head. There has to be another way. There isn't, Captain Chen said. We've run the calculations 1,000 times. We need this much power, or the field won't work. And if the field doesn't work, Earth dies. I won't order this, Hayes said firmly. You're not ordering it, Hunt replied. We're volunteering. My entire crew. We've discussed it. We're ready. Why? Why would you do this? Hunt smiled. Because this is why we came back, Admiral. We could have stayed at the way station, safe and protected. But we're human. Humans protect their own, even if it costs everything. Lisa Grant had been quietly listening. Now she spoke up. There has to be volunteers who aren't enhanced. Baseline humans who want to help. Your consciousness won't generate enough quantum energy, Carl said gently. It has to be enhanced humans. Then enhance us, Lisa said. Some of us. Enough to help power the field. Hunt shook his head. The enhancement process takes months. We don't have time. Actually, Helen said slowly, we've learned a lot since the first enhancements. Working with all 12 ships' knowledge, we could speed up the process. We could enhance 50 people in 2 weeks. That's still not enough power, Carl said. No, but it would reduce the burden on each individual consciousness. Instead of the Horizons crew dying instantly, they might survive for hours. Days even. Hunt considered this. It wouldn't change the outcome. Eventually, we'd still die. The field needs to stay active for 3 full days while Earth's forces destroy the Devourer fleet. Then we make those 3 days count, Lisa said. I volunteer for enhancement. Who else? Over the next day, 200 people volunteered. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, and civilians, all willing to undergo enhancement and join the Horizons crew in the final sacrifice. After careful selection, 50 were chosen. Those with the strongest mental discipline. Those most likely to survive the rapid enhancement process. Lisa Grant was among them. The enhancement was painful. Lisa felt like her brain was being taken apart and reassembled. New connections formed. New pathways opened. Colors became sharper. Sounds gained layers she'd never noticed. Math that had seemed complex now felt simple. She could see why the enhanced crew members seemed different. They weren't just thinking faster. They were experiencing reality at a deeper level. The Devourer fleet emerged at the edge of Earth's solar system like a swarm of mechanical locusts. Admiral Hayes watched from his command center on the orbital defense station. 537 enemy ships. Against them, humanity fielded 214 vessels, most built in the past few months using architect technology. The numbers weren't good, but numbers weren't everything. All ships hold position, Hayes ordered. Wait for my signal. The Devourers moved forward confidently. They destroyed countless civilizations. They saw no reason why humanity would be different. Their ships powered weapons, prepared to begin the harvest. That's when Captain Hunt gave the order. Activate the resonance field. Throughout the solar system, quantum generators came online. At the center, aboard the horizon, 197 enhanced humans linked their consciousness together. Hunt, Helen Carter, Lisa Grant, and all the others. Their minds merged into a single network, their quantum-level brain energy flowing into the generators. A wave of energy rippled across space. It was invisible to normal sensors, but every Devourer ship felt it immediately. Their faster-than-light drives shut down. Their jump engines failed. Emergency systems tried to restart them, but the resonance field made it impossible. Exotic matter couldn't exist in the field's presence. The Devourers were trapped. All ships engage, Hayes commanded. The human fleet surged forward. Ships built with Architect weapon systems opened fire. The disruption beams that had destroyed the node ship now tore through Devourer hulls. Energy shields flickered and died. The first enemy vessels exploded, but the Devourers had numbers. For every ship humanity destroyed, 3 more pressed forward. Their weapons were powerful, built from the salvaged technology of 1,000 dead civilizations. The battle became chaos. Ships twisted and turned, firing at point-blank range. Explosions lit up the darkness. Debris from destroyed vessels spun through space. Captain Stone commanded one of the new Architect-designed cruisers. He watched as 3 Devourer fighters targeted his ship. Evasive maneuvers, he ordered. His pilot, trained on the new systems, moved the ship in ways that shouldn't have been possible. The Devourer weapons missed. Stone's weapons didn't miss. All 3 enemy fighters vanished in balls of fire. But humanity was taking losses too. The ECS Vanguard exploded when a Devourer cruiser rammed it. The Explorer lost all power after a direct hit and drifted helplessly. The Constitution's captain reported critical damage to their reactor. On the horizon, the enhanced humans felt every death. Their linked consciousness stretched across the entire fleet. They felt the fear and courage of every human soldier, the pain of every loss, the determination to keep fighting. "Hold on," Hunt said to his crew. "We just need to hold on." Hours passed. The battle raged. Slowly, humanity began to gain ground. The Architect weapons were simply more advanced. One human ship could take down 3 or 4 Devourer vessels before being destroyed. The math started working in humanity's favor. Martin Cole, commanding a science vessel near Jupiter, identified a weakness in the Devourer formation. "Admiral, the node ships are clustering together for mutual protection. If we can destroy them, their fleet loses coordination." "How many node ships?" Hayes asked. 23, but they're heavily defended. "Send me the coordinates." "I'm authorizing a strike force." Captain Barbara Chen volunteered to lead the mission. She took 15 ships, the best pilots humanity had. They accelerated toward the clustered node ships at maximum speed. The Devourers saw them coming. Defensive fire became a wall of energy and projectiles. Chen's force pushed through. They lost 6 ships in the first minute, 5 more in the second. But the remaining 4 ships reached their targets. Chen's cruiser fired its disruption beam at point-blank range. A node ship split in half. 2 more node ships exploded as other ships found their marks. The effect was immediate. Hundreds of Devourer vessels suddenly lost coordination. They drifted confused, their controlling intelligence gone. Human ships tore into them. "The tide is turning," Paul Rivers reported from his position near Mars. But aboard the horizon, the enhanced crew was suffering. Maintaining the resonance field was draining them. Hunt could feel his consciousness starting to fray. Around him, other crew members were struggling. Lisa Grant was one of the newest enhanced humans. She felt it worse than the others. Her neural pathways weren't as established. The strain was tearing her apart. "I can't hold on," she gasped. Helen Carter, still strong, reached out through their linked consciousness. She took some of Lisa's burden onto herself. "Yes, you can. We're almost there. How much longer? The fleet needs another 2 days. We can do this," but Helen knew the truth. They couldn't last 2 more days. The power drain was too severe. Maybe 1 more day, maybe less. On Earth, people watched the battle through broadcasts. They saw their ships fighting. They saw the explosions. They knew that in space, enhanced humans were dying to give the fleet a chance. Senator Mitchell made another speech. "Every person fighting up there is a hero, enhanced and baseline alike. They're showing us what humanity truly is, not our technology, not our weapons, our willingness to sacrifice for each other. That's what makes us human." The second day of fighting was harder than the first. Both fleets were exhausted. Ammunition ran low. Reactors overheated. Crew members worked past their limits. Kelly Brooks commanded a wing of fighters near Venus. Her squadron had started with 20 ships. Now only 7 remained. But they kept fighting, protecting the larger vessels, harassing enemy cruisers. On the horizon, Hunt felt his consciousness slipping. The resonance field was devouring them faster than expected. Around him, enhanced crew members were fading, their neural patterns flickering like candles in wind. "We're not going to make it the full 3 days," he told Helen. "How long do we have?" 6 more hours. Maybe 8. Then we make every second count." Hunt reached out through the command network. "Admiral Hayes, this is Captain Hunt. The enhanced crews are failing faster than projected. You have 8 hours before the resonance field collapses. You need to finish this battle before then." Hayes felt ice in his chest. "Understood. All ships, new orders. We're ending this now. Full assault. Hold nothing back." Every human ship surged forward. Fighters that had been conserving fuel burned at maximum thrust. Cruisers that had been pacing their weapons now fired continuously. Captains took insane risks, driving their ships deep into enemy formations. The Devourers fought back with desperation. They understood now. They were going to lose. For the first time in their long history, they faced a species that could match them, could beat them, but understanding came too late. Carl Bennett's ship rammed a node ship, his reactor set to overload. The explosion took out 15 enemy vessels. Captain Chen, her ship crippled and dying, ordered her crew to evacuate while she aimed her vessel at another node ship. She succeeded, but didn't survive to see it. Sacrifices came from every ship. Engineers stayed at damaged reactors to keep them running. Pilots flew damaged fighters into enemy weapons platforms. Medical staff worked through injuries to save their crews. And aboard the horizon, the enhanced humans felt every sacrifice, every death, every act of courage. The pain was overwhelming, but so was the pride. "This is humanity," Hunt whispered. "This is who we are." The last node ship died 6 hours after Hunt's warning. With it, the coordination of the Devourer fleet collapsed completely. The remaining enemy vessels, leaderless and confused, were destroyed quickly. When the final Devourer ship exploded, Admiral Hayes allowed himself to breathe. "All ships cease fire. The battle is won." Across the fleet, exhausted crews cheered. They'd done it. Against impossible odds, humanity had won, but on the horizon there was no celebration. The enhanced crew members were dying. One by one, their neural patterns collapsed. The strain of maintaining the field for so long had destroyed them. Hunt felt Helen's consciousness fade beside him. "We did it," she whispered through their link. "We saved them." "We did," Hunt agreed. "Helen, I'm proud to have served with you." "The honor was mine, Captain." She was gone. Others followed. The Horizon's medical bay showed flatline after flatline. Bodies that had been enhanced beyond human limits finally reached their breaking point. Lisa Grant was one of the last to die. In her final moments, she thought about her family on Earth, her parents who would grieve, her friends who would remember her. She hoped they understood. She'd chosen this. Chosen to become something more than human to save humanity. Hayes stood in the command center, watching the reports. 197 enhanced humans, all dead. They'd given everything. "Prepare a memorial broadcast," he ordered quietly. But Martin Cole called from his ship. "Admiral, wait. I'm reading something strange from the quantum field." The enhanced crew's consciousness didn't just disappear. It was converted. Converted into what? Energy. Information. "Sir, their neural patterns have been integrated into the resonance field itself. They're not dead. They've become part of the field." Hayes didn't understand. "Explain." "The field is still active. Even though the generators are powered down, the field persists. It's sustaining itself using the consciousness that powered it. Sir, Captain Hunt and his crew are still here. They've become the shield protecting Earth." Hayes sat down heavily. "They're alive?"